You know why? Because we want to unite our brothers. We want our brothers and sisters to come together. You know what I'm saying? We're not here just for anything, man. I'm not here for me. I'm not here for, you know, for the riches, for the glory. I'm not here for any of that, man. I'm here for one single purpose, and that's to bring the Black, the Hispanic, the Native American, Indian back together again. You know what I mean? As one. We are one family, and we're going to try to do this. We're going to try to bring our families together again. We're going to help the Blacks, help the Mexicans, help the Native American Indian. That's what we're going to do. We're going to show you how it's done. We're going to show you how to make this work. Ain't that right, Kwam? CJ Hernandez, thanks for joining the show. We got a great show today, man. We're going to make this thing work. We're going to bring out knowledge. We're going to bring out everything needed for you to become a better person and help your brother and sister come into this truth and wake up Israel right now that it's its time. Okay, that's what it is. Tania, thanks for joining. Aratazah, Aparayam, Shalom Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah. This is One West ISUPK, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. This is the Wednesday class that I teach right here, the inconvenient truth, la verdad incomoda. And this is where it's at. This is where we're going to bring it out. This is the truth that people just don't want to hear about. We're here to tell you a history that the white man prefers to forget, right? Kanamawan, Amanika Yashikar, right? This is what we're here for. We're here to bring our brothers and sisters together to keep the spirit of the Lord alive and to bring again the coming together of Israel, the 12 tribes, ISUPK, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah, to everybody. Damien, thanks for joining the show. I got a good topic today, man. Doing some research, you know, I'm always digging in the books, bringing out old stuff that I used to know and bringing out new. The purpose of it is for you to tune in, listen to some of the stuff I'm talking about, you know, take notes, rerun this and listen to the stuff I'm talking about. Check it out for yourself. Go in there, find it for yourself, use it, you know, teach others, you know, teach one, teach another, you know, each one teach one, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're here for, man. We're here to help teach. And if I'm that person that's going to teach you for you can teach another, so be it. That's what I'm here for, man. Let the Lord use me for whatever it is that he's going to use me for. We're just here to speak. My ancestors speak through me to help you remember that this is what we went through, that this is what they were put through, and that it's time that we wake up. You know, Hosea 4:6, our people perish for the lack of knowledge. But we ain't going to perish, man. We about to wake up a nation. Hosea 4:6, Hosea did it real good, man. He told us, man, lack of knowledge. This is the knowledge that we need to remember. One, our history. Two, one, the Bible, of course, you know, our historical Bible. Two, a history, our history. Let's not forget our history. And three, who we are, man, where we come from and where we're going with this. That's what's more important over everything. You know what I'm saying? Because without that, man, we're lost. We're a lost people. And you know who's more lost than Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, man? No one is more lost than us, man. We got to be the most lost people there is. You know what I mean? This week here in LA, I'm gonna recut a little bit of what's been going on in LA here. This week on Sunday, they had the reunion of the 1970s Chicago moratorium. The Chicano moratorium. The Chicano moratorium was an event that took place out here in LA when the Chicanos were fighting for their rights in the schools and for civil rights, just straight civil rights, man. That's what it was, straight civil rights. Anti-war demonstrations for the killings of the Latinos and Vietnam, the civil rights, and more than anything, police brutality. Lupita Quintero, if you know anything about this, if any Chicano know about this, you know, this is our history. This is the core of our history. You know, in LA and across the nation during this time in the 1970s, the 60s and 70s, the Black Panther movement, the Young Lords in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? All these groups, the Native Indian movement, all of us are rising up at a time when we thought it was important for our voices to be heard. You know why? Because we were all going through the same thing at those times. The Black, the Hispanic, Native American Indians throughout the 70s, the Young Lords in Chicago, the Native American Indian social movement, and the Black Panthers, the Chicano Brown Berets, all of us at the same time in the 60s were all rising up for one thing, and it was because we were being oppressed in America. It seemed like we were being the target for police brutality. We were being the target for destruction of our properties. We were being the target for gentrification. You know, that's what we were fighting in those days. We had a whole list of things that as a Black, Hispanic, Native American Indian, and you know, I keep using these terms, Black, Hispanic, Native American Indian, because it's the most common term where if I use it, you know exactly who I'm talking about. See, during those times, you didn't see white folks fighting for properties. You didn't see Jewish folks fighting for property. You didn't see Asians fighting for these properties. They had established themselves and were prospering with the economy in those times. The Japanese were starting to bring products to America in the 70s, and they were already escalating their profits in Japan and here through their sales with America. The American people, they were already, you know, already well set, billionaires living here, Hollywood, the whole nine yards. Meanwhile, the Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian, we were still struggling in the ghettos. We were still struggling just to pay our rent and just to survive. We were the ones working in hotels, in restaurants, in the fields. That was us. And you know what? We were hardworking people. 2, 3, 4 generations working in the fields, and we were still struggling just to get good housing, just to feed our families. And let me tell you something, that's why we had to rise up. So this Sunday, there was a great a march and a reunion in East LA, and it was known as the Chicano Moratorium Reunion. And it was remembrance of what happened in the 1970s during the time when the newspaper columnist named Ruben Salazar, he was a figure in the Chicano movement out here in LA. And what he was doing, that he was a figure that was really pushing the issue about social justice for the Chicanos out here in Los Angeles and throughout the nation. And he was writing a column, man. He was deep into his column about pushing the issue. And not only that, but he was one of the people behind, you know, the unity and the movement of the Chicano movement here in LA. And so they were out there, Shalom Sheri, you know what I'm saying? Shalom Sheri. And so we were, he had a great movement moving around, and and so he was out there demonstrating. Well, all Chicanos were out there demonstrating for the killings in Vietnam. You know, they were pushing that. Hey, man, you know what? A lot of our kids are being killed still in Vietnam. A lot of our children were being killed in Vietnam, and you know, we're coming back to America and we're being treated like garbage. You know what I mean? We're being treated like animals. We don't have the equal rights that the white man has. We're not getting the compensation that the white man is getting for what we went through in Vietnam. But not only the Mexicans. I'm just pointing this out because of the moratorium this Sunday. But you know, my Black brothers, they were going through the same thing. Our Native American Indians were going through the same thing in Vietnam. They were being killed by the thousands out in the fields. The killing fields of Vietnam were the killing fields of the Black, the Hispanic, and the Native American Indian. And it seems like the white man, the white army was on purposely sending them first to die. You know what I'm saying? Like they had a plan that they would send our people out first because that was a war we were not going to win. And you know who was being exterminated? Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian were being exterminated out in the fields of Vietnam. But let me tell you something. Even the Vietnamese, the Viet Cong, because that's what they were called, the Viet Cong. Even the Viet Cong knew that the Black man and the Hispanic man were being oppressed in their country. You know what I'm saying? Right. There was a movement in Vietnam where the Vietnamese, the Viet Cong soldiers or army were making pamphlets. And those pamphlets were like a psychological attack on the American army. Because what they were doing on the pamphlets, they were writing, Black man, this is not your war. You're going to go back to America to be discriminated on. You know what I'm saying? Captions like that. And they were doing this by the masses and dropping them by the thousands all across Vietnam. And what they were doing is they were psychologically coming against America by telling the truth. You know what? That's a heavy thing to do. Because you know what? You're actually winning a war by waking somebody up. And you know what? The Black men, when they were reacting, they were like, God damn, they right, man. We coming out here, we're being killed in the fields, and we're going back to America without jobs. You know, what was that movie that, man, what's that movie? Man, I want to remember that movie where they got the painted faces and they robbed that bank? and the kids are coming back from Vietnam. One of them is coming back from Vietnam. Man, oh man, I wish I remember the name of that movie. Man, oh, Dead Presidents. Dead Presidents. If you've seen that movie, Dead Presidents, you know, that's a perfect example of what our people were coming back to in America. Dead Presidents, that movie, man, that's like a gold mine right there to show you the condition that our people were coming back to, you know. Who's that's in that movie, Dead Presidents? Who's that comedian that was Jackie Chan? Chris Rock is in that movie. Oh, Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker's in that movie. Yeah, Chris Tucker is a Vietnam vet, and so is that other kid, a Vietnam vet. And they're coming back to a situation where there's no jobs, they're not being hired. You know what I mean? All these things, and you know they're coming back to a situation that's you know that's deep, man. You know, right. And that's the thing you got to understand, that the Vietnamese they tried telling the black man the truth, and the black man was waking up in the fields of Vietnam. The right. Killing fields of Vietnam, the black man and the Latin American man were like, you know what, these guys are telling the truth. But you know what, it takes a lot, because you know what, we went to World War II and we came back to the same discrimination. Right. You know, this moratorium of the 1970s, the Chicano movement, they're marching against the anti-war, but how many times have we marched? Yes, how times? Like if I could, and it's still the same. It's still the same today. It's still the same. We're still going to war. Right. We're coming back and getting what? Distributed. Right. Not only getting deported, because right now, if you go to the borderline in Tijuana and other places, right. They got encampments of soldiers that participated in the Afghanistan war and right. The Iraq war, right. And they've been deported, and they're now living in encampments right there and across the border, waiting for their families to go visit them every once in a while, because they're on one side of the border and the family's on the other side of the border. Right. You know, and this has been going on for decades. And yet, you know what? We go and join the police force. We go and join their goddamn armies. Right. We go and join all their institutions. And you know what? We're the ones that are still at the bottom. Right. We seem to never be able to get out of the situation. What's the key here? The key is the unity between the Black, the Hispanic, and the Native American Indian, and separation from these nations. You got a precept on separation? Separate from this nation. So, you know, this demonstration on Sunday of the 1970 Chicano moratorium, the death of Ruben Salazar, and let me tell you what happened to Ruben Salazar. Ruben Salazar, it was a huge gathering of Chicano people at a park, right? And it was a peaceful movement. I mean, they had men, women, children, grandparents, they had music. They had a whole day of going out there and in unity, the Chicanos going out there in unity in a peaceful manner to raise their voice for the injustice of cop killings against Mexicans, for education that their children weren't getting, for jobs that were being, you know, that they were getting jobs that were, you know what, paying less, for all these situations. My Chicano brothers and sisters, they were going through all this, so they decided in this day to go out there and, you know what, and protest peacefully for the Chicanos to you know, lift the voice, you know what I mean, to speak up on the situation that they were on. So this man, Ruben Salazar, was one of the men behind this whole thing, you know what I mean. I'm gonna bring it up real quick just to give you more insight on the Chicano moratorium. I have it here now, but I just got to bring up my page. So, you know, these activists in the Chicano moratorium, you know, this was a coalition of Mexican American and Mexican, you know, Chicano anti-war activists, you know, the Brown Berets, you know, everybody was here. This is a student movement. This was in East Los Angeles, and it drew about 30,000 people. You know what I mean? That's how many people they drew out there, man. There was thousands and thousands of people, and this social movement was the base of what the Chicanos wanted, you know, about, you know, you're being killed, you're being disproportionate in numbers in comparison to the population, you're being killed more than everybody else. You know, like, you know how you see blacks being killed today on the social media continuously? Let me tell you something. That's what it was like for the Chicanos in the 1960s and the 1970s. We were being killed by disproportionate numbers. You know what I mean? We were the greasers that were being killed for any reason at all. You know what I'm saying? They just felt like us Chicanos, us Mexicans were just not the people. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We were the people that were like looked at less. Today, you know, the same thing is happening to the blacks. You know, these people just see the blacks as you know, less people. You know, why else would they do that? You know, they caught that. I don't know if you guys seen on social media, but recently there was a young black woman who got stabbed in the neck. And, you know, if you've seen that clip, you know, the cop sees the guy that did it. And, you know, they didn't even do nothing to the guy. The guy's actually walking away from the incident. You know what I'm saying? But yet, if that had been a black man or a Hispanic man, he'd have got shot on the spot. That's what it really is. And so that's what it was all about. This Chicano moratorium. It was everybody stepping up in this movement in 1970 at the park in order to raise a voice for the social injustice that was happening to the Chicanos. You know what I mean? This national Chicano moratorium against the war in August in 1970, this was planned throughout all the Southwest, all America, all of LA. This was like a thing that was going to happen for everybody across the nation in hopes that everybody would see, you know, what was happening to the Chicanos, and that they would help and raise a voice to help the Chicano movement. You know what I'm saying? There was so many people participating that it was so many groups participating on that day that it was uncountable the number of groups that were participating. You know what I mean? This was a walk that drew like, you know, man, 20,000-30,000 people, like I said before. It was a walk through Whittier Boulevard, you know what I'm saying? And right down the street all the way to where the park was going to be, where they were going to all get together and you know, and gather in a peaceful way. You know, this guy, Ruben Salazar, that I'm speaking about, he was actually an award-winning journalist for the LA Times. You know, he was like one of the people that really stood out as a leader for the Chicano movement. Then there was others, you know. I'm not taking anything from anybody else. I'm pretty sure there was you know, who was that? I know there was some. Rodolfo Gonzalez, I think, was one. Who else was there? Man, there's a whole list of them. Rosalio Muñez. I can't think of everybody, but I know there was a whole bunch of them, right? Rosalinda. And so anyways, so today this park is renamed after this man, Ruben Salazar. It's called the Ruben Salazar Park. It's renamed after this man because of what happened anyways. So let me tell you, you have thousands and thousands of men, women, and children down there. You know, the Raza Unida parties down there. They're all their activists, you know, in a peaceful way to try to get this together. And the outcome of this march is chaos. The police went down there claiming that someone had robbed a liquor store, and they opened fire on everybody. Their main thing to use was the tear gas containers. They were out there shooting tear gas container and rubber bullets at everybody. They had dogs out there. They disrupted a peaceful march just because they didn't want us getting together. And I'm going with this Chicano movement, but just like that, you know, there's the Black Panther Party, there's the Young Lords in Chicago, there's the Native Indian movement. You know what I'm saying? But this is what happened. This is what happened in that time. This was a time when chaos broke out, and what went from being a peaceful movement turned out to be a place where there was death. This man, Ruben Salazar, he was killed that day. They shot him in the head with one of those tear gas containers. They knew what they were doing when they shot this man. They shot this man. Why? Because once again, when it comes time for Hispanics to unite, or blacks to unite, or Native Indians to unite, they have a problem with that. You know what I mean? And since they know that, you know, they're gonna hold us back, you know, they go ahead and they do these things that they're gonna do. So you know what? This idea of getting together, of bringing ourselves together in marches, man, that is not for us. You got anything on that?
Separation.
And the idea is to separate ourselves. This is the solution to what we haven't found in the decades of movements, of marchings, of rallies. This is what we haven't found. And this is the solution on how we're going to be able to overcome our oppressor. Read. Which one you got?
It's Leviticus 20 and 26.
Leviticus 20 and 26. Go ahead and read that.
And ye shall be holy unto me.
So we shall be holy unto the Lord. That means we will be separate. We cannot mix with these other people. We cannot mix with these other races. We have to separate ourselves. Why? Because they don't consider us like them. They consider us different. Continue reading.
For I, the Lord, am holy.
For the Lord is holy. Let me tell you, the Lord is separate. He separates himself from anybody else. He's not like any other God. He's not like the God of the Egyptians. He's not like the God of the Greeks. He's not like the God of the Romans. He's not like that Caesar Borgia God. He's separate than all other gods. Continue reading.
And have severed you.
He severed us. You know what the word severed means? That means to separate. He's cut your limb off. Like if your hand is together with your hand, they're going to sever it. They're going to separate. They're going to cut it. The Lord says he has severed us. He has cut us off. He has taken Israel, the 12 tribes, and he has cut us from everybody else. Continue reading.
And have severed you from other people.
See, the Lord has severed us from other people. He has separated us from all other nations. We are not like the Chinese. We are not like the Asians. We are not like the Edomites. We are not like the Africans. We are not like any other race. We are a separate race. We are a separate people. That's why when I speak to my people in these classes, you know who I'm speaking to. You know who I'm talking to. You know this message fits you perfectly. Continue reading.
That ye should be mine.
And that we should be his. Let me tell you something. The Lord cut us off. He severed us. He cut us off from everything. You know why? Because he chose that piece that he cut to be his. You know what? That's like when you cook for your husband. This is for the women, right? And you got that steak and you see the biggest steak, right? And you say, oh, you know what? I'm going to separate that steak from my husband. You know why? Because that's my man. And this steak is the biggest one of all. And you know what? This one is going to be for him. That one there, you even take a little more time to cook it. That's that steak that you saw in the package that right away you said, man, that one right there, that's my steak right there. You chose that steak. You severed that from all the others because that one is going to be yours. You see what I'm saying? And that's what the Lord has done to Israel. The Lord has separated Israel, the black, the Hispanic, and the Native American Indian from every other nation. You know what? Let me tell you something. The Lord does not love the other nations. The Lord loves Israel. The Lord is not looking after anybody else. The Lord is looking after Israel. That's who the Lord is looking after. You know why? Because the Lord loves his people. And let me tell you, some people say, well, then why are you going through all this? The reason that we're going through all this is because we don't love the Lord enough to realize that we are a special people. We still think that we're like every other nation. We still want to hold hands with the same people that the Lord has separated us from. That's what it is. That's why we're going through the problems that we're going, because it's been too hard for us to realize that, you know what? The Lord is trying to separate us. The Lord is trying to keep us away from everybody else. And since we're so adamant about staying with these people, since you're so adamant about continuing going to the nail salon to get your nails, since you're still adamant to going to the Chinese restaurants, since you're still adamant of having these friends of yours that continually hate you, you know what? That's why the Lord is doing that to you. Because you cannot understand. Because you still want to eat pork, you still want to eat shrimp, you still want to mess around with other your homies' women. You know, you still want to go and take second hands from your homeboy. You still want to smoke weed. You still want to do drugs. You know what I'm saying? You still want to do those things. And that's why the Lord has you in the condition that he has you. Because you know what? You've chosen not to do that. You've chosen not to follow the Lord. Let me tell you something. The Lord ain't going to do nothing to me because I've chosen to follow the Lord. To follow the Lord in everything that he tells me and everything that he says. And I chose to read and stay on top of everything that I'm doing here. You know what I'm saying? I choose to go out Saturday and call my people to the truth. I choose to spend my Wednesdays, you know what, on my day off. I could be doing anything, man. I choose to be doing this. You know what I'm saying? So this is what happened this week on Sunday, the Chicano moratorium. These Chicanos have gotten together, gone out to East LA, and done this walk all over again. They've chosen to go out there and do this whole thing once again, just the way they had done, you know what, back in the 1970s. They've chosen to, you know what, let's remember those days when our people got together and marched and, you know, and got together. And I'm going to show you some pictures, right? Because, you know, I love showing pictures, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, what's Kazak y'all doing? Oh, he's showing pictures again? You know what I'm saying? The Chicano moratorium, thousands of people gathered together to march down the street. Hey, can I get a glass? With nice. This is what it was like. 1970. These are all Chicano people who have decided to get together and, you know what, start marching down the street. See that? And why was this? Because our people were being killed. That's why. Because thousands of our people decided they were going to march in East LA. You know why? Because it was time to get together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it was. Look at that. Texas, California, Chicago, you name it, man. Everybody was involved. This was a thing that took place across the nation. This is Issachar right here. You know what I'm saying? For those who don't know Issachar, this is Issachar right here. This is it right here. Look at that. And they were out trying to stop, you know, trying to stop what was going on with our people, you know, because they were sick of it. They were like, you know what, we ain't going to have this no more. We ain't going to have this because, you know what, this is too much. See that? Ya basta, meaning that's enough. Our kids don't have blue eyes, but they go overseas to give them, right? To go and fight that war. Let me see if I can see it better. No, I guess not. That's a great picture, though. You know what I'm saying? But this is what our people were fighting for. You know what I'm saying? Wrong guy, right? Anyways, but this is what it was. This is what the whole march was about. You know what I'm saying? Latinos trying to get you know, trying to get back from this whole thing. You know. This was it, right? And this is what it ended up like. See that? This is a community right here. This is our street. I know these areas. Probably First Street in East LA. You know what I'm saying? First Street, East LA. And this is what it ended up turning out like. People had to march, but you know what? Once again, you know, marching does us no good. Doing this has taken us nowhere. Getting together and marching, getting together and doing all this gets us nowhere. And this is the same thing. What you're seeing here in the 1970s and the 1960s is no different than today. You know what? These signs right here are valid today. Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say that this sign that you're seeing there, isn't it valid today? Are we not being intimidated by the police? Don't we go out there? Don't the black people, when you see the, you know, the police lights behind you, man, you already know, man. You already know that it's not going to be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Fear comes into you as soon as you see those that are supposed to protect and serve. But you know what? They're not protecting and serving. You know what they're doing? They're intimidating. And just the way the black people are being killed today, like today, it's, man, I would say it's like a genocide. We're seeing black people being hung, right? We're seeing black people being shot, you know, randomly. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing black people being thrown out of restaurants. These are no different. The Chicano genocide that happened in the 70s, you know, is still happening to the black folks today. And you know what? I call them black, but we know that black folks ain't black. We know black folks are a richer color of brown. You know what I'm saying? There is no black. Black is a color. Black is you know, it's a word that's just being used. Someone called my brothers black, but that's not what they truly are. But this genocide that was happening in the 1970s is the same genocide that's happening to my brothers today. That's happening to all of us all around. And you know how I was talking about that? See that? There it is. That's what it was right there. Because that's what was really happening. You know what I'm saying? That's what was really happening right there. Our people were going to the Vietnam War, and they were being killed in Vietnam. And you know who was killing them? The Vietnamese weren't killing them. America was killing them. America was conjuring up ways to send our people in to die. That's what they were doing. What is that? You got a precept on that? How they invent shit for us to die? What is it? The soft words.
Smoother than butter.
Smoother than butter. That's the one right there. Let me tell you something. They think of ways of how we're gonna be killed. You know what I'm saying? They're always thinking of ways of how it's gonna affect us. How is it that we're gonna be able to go in there and it's gonna affect us first? We're like the guinea pigs. We've been the guinea pigs for America since the day they set foot here. That's what we've been. We've been the guinea pigs for these people. We've been the ones that come in here and you know what? And they experiment with us. Send them first into the pad. Oh, I have an idea. We can't get through these fields. Well, why don't you send somebody forward first? And if he gets killed or he steps on a mine, then you know not to send everybody else in there. Who are you gonna send? Send the black man first. Send the Mexican first. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because something happens to him. Oh well. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it was. But you know what? I'll tell you what happened is that our people are always trying to, you know, how could I say, fit in, because that's what it is. We're trying to serve a nation that hates us. We're trying to go out there and, you know, and serve and be like them. But in reality, you know what? We're not like them, man. We're the ones that are not coming back. Their children are coming back, but we're not coming back. We're not coming back at all. We're being murdered and killed out there, while their children are coming back. You know what I mean? They do come back. They get their pensions. They get their what is that? Their veterans pay and all that shit. We don't get that. Our people are different. Our people are being killed and murdered, and we're getting nothing from it. Did you get that?
Which one?
A smoother words of smooth butter.
I got 2 precepts on.
Okay.
On the topic.
Because you know what? That's really what's happening to us, man. The Chicano movement in that time was a movement that was made, you know what, to get our people out of Vietnam. That's what that whole march was about. But you know what? That's only I'm touching right now on the Chicanos, but I'm on the charge on everybody right now, because the point of this show, The Inconvenient Truth, is to show that, you know what, America hates us and that we have to separate and we have to come together as Black, Hispanic, Native American, Indian, because this time around, if we unite as a nation and not as a people, then you know what, this is going to be the time when we're going to, you know, overcome all the oppression that's happening to us. Why? Because we're not separating as groups. We're coming together as a nation. You can't be a group. You have to be a nation. You know what? This nation respects nations, but they don't respect groups. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They respect a nation. And you know what? We got to realize that we're a nation. You got a precept on that? On the smoother than butter?
Yeah, come on.
Go ahead and give me that.
Psalms chapter 55 and verse 20.
This is Psalms 55 and verse 20.
So like he had put forth his hand he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
You know what? He's put his hands against those that are at peace with him. Let me tell you something, man. The black man has always been at peace with the white man. The native Indian has always been at peace with the white man. Let me tell you, us Mexicans, we've always been at peace with the white man. Let me tell you something, man. Mexicans kill another Mexican, but they won't kill a white man. Right. A black man will kill another black man, but he won't kill a white man. And the native Indian, man, they kill their own people too. But you know what? We never go against the white man. We just don't do that until it gets to a point where, you know what? We just fed up. And at that point, that's when we lift ourselves above all the nonsense. And even then, we're not killing them. You know what we're doing? We're marching in peace. We're out there rallying together and going on our big marches and picket signs and banners and all this to try to get them to understand that we don't want no war with you. We want to be at peace with you. We're marching for peace. A million-man march. There was no gunfire. There was just people lifting a voice that they wanted peace. You know what I'm saying? When the riots happened, they didn't go burn down Beverly Hills. They burned down Watts. They burned down Compton. They burned down South Central. They burned down the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? They burn down their own areas. They don't go and burn down the rich areas. They don't go to you know, a Bel Air, or they don't go downtown LA to the businesses down there. They didn't do that. You know what they did? They burned their own neighborhoods. Why? Because they want somebody to hear them. And in the depression and then in the effort of hearing them, they burn their own neighborhoods down. So we don't even come up against the white man. All we're thinking is we just want peace. And you know what? But against our people, man, we're disgraceful against our own people. Continue reading.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
But let me tell you something. The white man's words are smoother than butter. He convinces us that we need to go to war. He convinces us that, you know what, you should work for me like that and get paid that much. He convinces us that, you know what, that we're not as needed as he says we are. We're convinced as Mexicans that they should deport wetbacks. We're convinced as black men that, you know what, that black guy is lazy. We're convinced that the white man is better than us. That, you know what, I'm not going to work for a black man. Man, I ain't going to go to the nail shop with the black women. I'm going to go to the nail shop with the Asian woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go to the black-owned business. I'm going to go to the white-owned business. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, so like if I could, it's heavy what you're bringing out, because that's saying like for the Jakes that are all right with the white man's, you know, philosophies. That's like him admitting, yeah, you stole us. You know, you enslaved us, you killed our people, but it's a good thing because, you know, you had a wiser way.
Right.
That's like any Jake out there, you know, any Uncle Tom, a Judite or a Mexican, they're accepting them as like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they're putting them above them already.
Right. Exactly.
It, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly what it is. You know what? We accept our oppressor as being smarter than us. He is smarter. You know why? Because he's oppressing us. Right. And we just haven't got that into our head that we are being oppressed, that we're being destroyed. And we're continually over here thinking that he's with us, but in reality, he's not with us, man. In reality, you know what? He's against us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's the one destroying us, and we're over here thinking that everything is going to be okay. And you know what? Things are not going to be okay. Things have never been okay. Our people are being oppressed. Our people are being destroyed. And you know what? We're destroying our own selves. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's really what's happening here. And you know what? We until we realize this, the thing is that, you know what? It's destroying us. We have to learn that these people are not with us. They're against us. You know what I'm saying? That's right. What it is. And as for us, I'm going back to do you have any more on that before I go on?
Not on that, but I had a few precepts on top of that we were touching on before.
Okay.
On got Lamentations 4:17.
Lamentations 4:17.
As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help.
You see that? Our eyes have failed for our vain help. You know what? We can't even see that. You know, we can help ourselves, but we prefer to keep calling on him to help us. We could actually get ourselves out of the situation, but you know what? We continue going to our oppressor to see if he can help us with the situation that we're in. You know what I'm saying? It's been going on for decades, man. Our neighborhoods gentrified, right? Our business closed down, our rents raised, our jobs diminished all the time. But yet we're still thinking, I'm gonna go vote. You know what I'm saying? Right. Continue reading.
In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Read that again.
In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Let me tell you something. In our watching, in thinking that we're waiting for the opportunity, we're watching, we're waiting for, you know, I'm going to keep, it's like saying, you know what? I'm going to keep looking through the news till something good comes up. In our watching, man, we have not found it. Read that again.
As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
We've watched for a nation that could not save us, man. We've been going to their wars. We've been fighting in their struggles. We've been, you know, voting for their presidents. We've been voting for their statutes that they pass in laws in our cities. We've been donating to their churches. We've been donating to their Red Cross. Man, we've been doing everything, man. We've been doing everything that they ask us to. And you know what? In vain. In what does it say?
Our eyes as yet failed for our vain help.
For our vain help, man. It's vain. They're never going to help us, man. You know who's telling us this? The Lord is telling us this. How could I be wrong? The Lord is telling us this. The Lord is telling us, man, you know what? You guys continue waiting for these people that are never going to do anything for you. The Lord is telling us, man, out of the Bible, he's saying, look, man, you keep having your hopes up on these people, and these people are never going to help you, man. These people are never going to do anything for you. You know what? It's kind of like a Raider fan, right? That a lot of people are going to hate me, but it's kind of like a Raider fan. You know what a Raider fan does? Oh, man, the Raider fan, Mexicanos, bro, we go out there and we buy all Raider clothes, man. Our cars are black and gray. You know what I'm saying? We're like hardcore Raider fans, bro. And now they're moving to Vegas. Well, no, not that, but you know what? If you ever been to East 14th Street in Oakland, let me tell you something, man. That's the poorest neighborhood in Oakland. And you go over to the stadium, and that stadium is sitting on, you know, looking nice. But as soon as you cross the street, man, the homes are man, third world, bro. Our people live in the ghetto out there. Man, you see people begging on street corners. You see people in the middle of the street while cars are passing by to get asking you for money. You go up on East 14th Street and beyond, and it's just a poor neighborhood. And let me tell you something. It's been like that since I lived out there in the 80s, and it's been like that since the 80s, man. The LA Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, the goddamn Raiders have never, ever said, man, look at the neighborhood around us. Each one of those players makes millions, man, and none of them have ever even thought of the idea to say, hey, man, let's all get together and help these people that live around our stadium. You know why help them? Because they're our biggest fans. You know why help the Mexicans and Salvadoreños and Centroamericanos that live out here? Because they're our biggest fans. You know what I'm saying? They have never stepped up to say, let me help. They gave us love. Let me give them love. Let's give back to them. I make millions. What is $10,000 to me out of one of my checks to help this neighborhood look a lot better, to put some stores in here, to fix these homes? You could go to one of the first block on that street. Man, I know it, man. I know that area. I know that Jack in the Box and all those areas there. Man, they could go to the first house and tell that owner, man, I'm going to give you $5,000 to paint your house, put some grass, fix your place up. You know, you may not have it like that always, but you know what? I'm going to just out of a good gesture because you know what? You're my neighborhood, man. And I want my neighborhood and my people in my neighborhood to look good. And you know what? They ain't never done that. And it's been 50 goddamn years. And the Oakland Raiders have never done anything to help that neighborhood out, man. You know why? Because they don't give a damn about those people, man. They don't have anything at all. You know what I'm saying? They don't have anything at all for our people, man. All they think about is their sport, their area, their little lifestyle, and they're good with that, man. You know what I'm saying? But ain't none of these people. You know what? People used to praise Bo. Remember Bo? Bo, he was one of the football players for the Raiders. Bo Jackson, that was it. Bo Jackson, bro. Bo Jackson never did a goddamn thing for the Raiders, and that dude made money like crazy. He played baseball, he played football, man. He was just like, you know what I'm saying? He was just like, man, he was rich.
Right.
And you know what? He could have seen his people there, and he could have been like, you know what? I'm just gonna help all my people. Just one individual that he could say today, man, I helped that little neighborhood when in my time.
Right.
When the Lord shined some light on me, I shine some light on people. But you know what? You go into that neighborhood, and it's still the same as it's always been. The LA Raiders, man, have never done anything for Oakland. Oakland has always been the same. They went but you go down to Oakland now, and you go down to the main street. I think it's Broadway, right? Where we went there, you know, and the park, that park area, you know. Oh man, now the white man has gentrified that area, and it looks beautiful, you know. But now why? Because it's gentrified. Right. You know what I mean? It's gentrified. Yeah, that's right. He broke his career. It took his ass out. Why? Because he had no compassion for his people. But you know what? Now you go to Oakland, and now Oakland is, oh man, Oakland, be careful now. Because you know why? Because they gentrified Oakland. Because now it's no more, they're pushing all the black people out and all those people out, and they're gentrifying the whole neighborhood. You know what I mean? That's what gentrification does. That's what the white man is good at. He's good at pushing our people out, and you know what? And bringing his people in. Let me tell you something. In LA, we ain't no different. You know, I mention it all the time. Who are the biggest fan of the Dodgers? The Mexican people are the biggest Dodger fans, man. I think that the Dodgers have become rich because of Mexicans. Mexicans have made Dodgers the richest group anywhere, man. Like, we are hardcore. You know, we'll go buy their gear. We'll be dressed. Man, you go anywhere, you got to be wearing Dodger. It's like, if you're wearing a Dodger, you're from LA.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. If you got anything on that, on stuff like that, let me know. You know, if you're wearing a Dodger gear, you know, oh yeah, you're Latino, bro. You wear Dodger blue, and you paint your car blue. You know what I'm saying? Your car is blue. Because why? Because you're a big Dodger fan. But you know what? People don't realize that the way the Dodger Stadium became Dodger Stadium is criminal, man. You know what I'm saying? It was a criminal process to bring the Dodgers to America, to LA. And you know who it was criminal against? It was criminal against Latinos. That's who it was criminal against. It was criminal against our own people. And you know what? To honor the Dodgers is to forget your own people. That's right, John. Chavez Ravine. That's exactly what it was. To wear your Dodger is to criminalize your own people. Robbed, stolen, murdered, taken, you know, everything. And now it's Dodger Stadium. Under the Dodger Stadium today is a community that once belonged to Mexican people. You got that? Read.
Read. Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity.
Woe to them that devise iniquity, bro. You know what iniquity is? That's unheard of. That's something that you do against somebody that's more than a crime, man. The Native American Indian, 77 million American Indians murdered. That's iniquity. The crossing of the blacks in the boats across what is that? The Atlantic slave trade. Man, that's iniquity. The destruction of the Taino Indian on the Puerto Rican islands. That's iniquity. The Mexicans being deported in the 1930s by the masses, by the millions. Man, that's iniquity. Continue reading.
And worked evil upon their beds.
And worked evil upon our beds. You know what our beds are? That's where we lay down. Those are our homes. That's where we're at. That's where we sleep. A bed is a home. Because where's your bed at? In your house. And you know what? That's where they commit iniquity at. Continue reading.
When the morning is light. They practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
And you know what? That's why they do that to us. That's why they gentrify our neighborhoods. That's why they raise our rents. That's why they give us these jobs, meaningless jobs. That's why they have us in the conditions that they have us. Why? Because it's in their hand to do that to us. Because they do that because they know they can. Because you know why? They've taken it on themselves to destroy our people. You have anything else on that?
Yeah. Verse 2. Verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence.
Let me tell you something. They covet the fields and they take them by violence. We're reading this out of the Bible. The Bible in the book of Micaiah, it's telling us exactly what happened to our people. Here in America, let me tell you, they've taken our fields. They've taken our land. And you know what? They took them by violence. You know how they took them? For those people that love to wear the San Francisco 49ers gear, man, I love going to sports, huh? The San Francisco 49er gear, you know, you're all pleasant. Oh, you know, I'm going to wear that 49er gear. That's why your ass gets beat at the Dodger game, right? Because you're wearing that 49er gear, not knowing that that represents when the white man came to America in 1849 during the gold rush era and took this land from our Mexican, Native American, Indian brothers. You know what I'm saying? They took that land. They would hang these people, accuse them of being robbers, thieves, rapists, murderers. And you know what? They would gather together. Thousands of white people would gather for a hanging every week. And they would hang our people. And you know why they would hang them? To take their land. Because, you know, they lived on property. They weren't just some wild Indians. Mexicans owned their own land. Mexicans were not vagrant. They were not vagabonds. The white man was a vagabond.
Right.
The American Indian had a home. We had our fields. We had our land. We had our homes. And you know what? They were vagabonds. They were running around living in goddamn carriages. Or what are those called? Yeah, right? Carriages. They were in those wagons, man. They were being pulled by oxen and horse. And they were living in goddamn wagons, eating in the prairie, right? Like we see those movies in the prairie where they're over there making their little fire because they had nowhere to live. Us Mexicans, we had where to live.
Right.
We had our land. We had our homes. We had our family. We had our tribes. You know what I'm saying? We had what was ours. We weren't just some random people living out, you know, in nowhere land. No way, man. We had communities. And you know what they did? They took our communities. They destroyed our people, took our land, stole our land, and what?
And take them by violence.
And took them by violence. They hung us on trees just as often as they would hang our black brothers. Continue reading.
And houses, and take them away.
They took our houses and they took them away. You know what they did? They destroyed us as a people. They destroyed us as a society. They destroyed us as a civilization. They destroyed us as a culture. Continue reading.
So they oppressed a man and his house.
So they oppressed a man and his house. You know who a man was? We're men. That's who we are. We're men. We're all men. You know what I mean? The black, the Hispanic, and the Native American Indian, we knew how to be a family. You know what I'm saying? And they learned how to separate us. They made an effort to make sure that the black man and the black woman did not live under the same roof. They made sure that the Mexican did not have a home to go to. They made sure that the Native American Indian had no land to call his own. Continue reading.
Even a man and his heritage.
Even a man and his heritage. Let me tell you, we no longer have a heritage. The black man, you think you're African American, you think you're black, you think you're Afro-American, you think you're American, man. You think I think I'm from Louisiana or from Detroit, or man, you don't even know what your heritage is anymore. You're celebrating the 4th of July. You're celebrating goddamn Independence Day. You're celebrating these stupid holidays that aren't even yours. You're celebrating the day that you were a slave. That's the day you're celebrating. You're celebrating his great days of conquering and all these days, and you're celebrating the man. You're over there going to their fireworks shows, going to their parade, going to their goddamn Christmas carnivals, going to their Catholic churches, going to their Christian churches, and you're celebrating their days, man. The Mexican Indian, man, we're lost. We're over here celebrating a Virgin Mary. We're over here celebrating a white Jesus. We're over here celebrating a cross. We're over here celebrating, you know, the days of I don't know, man, the days we celebrate, right? Because that's Mexicans have a whole line. We don't only celebrate the Spaniard days, but now we even celebrate these goddamn white people days. You know what I'm saying? Celebrating our birthdays. That's right, right now, our birthdays. Celebrating, you know, things that have nothing to do with our culture. And why? What did we lose?
So they oppressed a man and his house.
They oppressed a man and his house. And what else?
Even a man and his heritage.
A man and his heritage. We no longer have a heritage. We've lost Mexicans, man. You don't even have your own language anymore. You used to speak a beautiful language known as Nahuatl. Nahuatl was a language derived from the Hebrew. Man, we spoke a great language. My people from El Salvador, the Pipil, the Quiche, all these people spoke a great language. The people in the native Indians spoke a great language. Today, we've even forgotten that, man. We've even forgotten who we are. We've forgotten the great heritage that we come from. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something, and we're about to get into this in a bit. I'm inviting my brother in because we're going to tell you a little story of El Salvador. So everybody out there, you know, make sure you stay in tune because right now we're going to give you some story of El Salvador. It's real important because you know what? El Salvador, you know, they lost all their heritage just the same way we did. And you know why? Because we allowed a nation that hated us to destroy us. You have anything else on that?
Oh, yes, like
they've allowed a nation that hate us to destroy us. And they're in the same condition. All of Latin America, all of Central America, we're all in this condition. Why? Because we've joined hands with our oppressor. Continue reading.
It's like I got another preset, but that was it on that one.
Okay, go ahead. So let me tell you something. That's the problem that we've lost our heritage. And we've embraced and grabbed a hold of a heritage that is not ours. In El Salvador, in all of Latin America, we're celebrating the holidays of a nation that destroyed us. Just the way in America, the black man celebrates a holiday of the nation that destroyed them. You know what it is? That we've taken on to a nation that has destroyed everything that it's come in contact with. You have that?
Yeah.
Read.
Psalms 106 and verse 35.
The book of Psalms tells us this.
But we're mingled among the heathen.
We're mingled among the heathen. Let me tell you, blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, we have mingled. You know what mingling is? It's like you're there, but you don't belong there. You're just there, man. You're just mingling with them. You're like trying to be part of something that you're not. Read.
And learn their works.
And we've learned their works. You know what works we've learned? We've learned how to hate each other, man. That's the work that we've learned. We learned that we'll kill our brothers, but we won't kill the person that oppresses us. We'll get into a fight with our sister, but we won't get into a fight with the person that oppresses us. We'll go over there and we'll bring war against our own brother for standing on my block. But you know what? I will not go down to City Hall and stand there till they start, gentrifying my neighborhood. But yet to my brother, man, I'll land a hand on him. Continue reading.
Oh, God. Verse 36, and they serve their idols.
And we serve their idols, man. You know what? We're serving their idols. Man, we're over here worshiping a Virgin Mary, the image that was made by a man. His name is Zipac, Marcos de Zipac. Marcos de Zipac was the painter who painted the Virgin Mary. He was actually a Catholic priest, an artist, and his name was Marcos Zipac. Marcos Zipac was the man credited for painting the image of the Virgin Mary. You know what? We're worshiping the image of a white Jesus. Who is this image? This image is Caesar Borgia, painted by who? By Leonardo da Vinci? No. Who is it? He's a famous painter. They don't come up right now. But a famous painter painted this one, and we're worshiping these idols. Not only him, but amongst many idols us Mexican people have. All the saints, San Martin de Porres, all these idols, all these paintings, all these statues that they've made in Mexico and Latin America, that now for every day we have a different saint. Oh, Michelangelo. That's right, Felipe. Most High in Christ. You know what? Let me tell you something. We're over here and we're worshiping all these saints. Que San Martín de Juan, San Martín de Diego, el Niño de Antocha, you know, all, and if you're Mexican, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Niño de Antocha, San Martín de Porres, you know, all these idols that have been brought unto our people. And you know what? We're worshiping idols that are the Spaniard idols. They're not even ours. You had something?
Yes, a lot. Yeah, I just wanted to bring out real quick a little bit of history on El Santo Niño de Atocha. Like the person when they you know what I'm saying, I'll bring out the history on how they started getting mass produced.
Okay, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? And this happened, I'm not sure of the year, but it happened, and what they used to do, it was the Spaniards, right? And what they used to do is they had that little image of Christ sitting on a chair, and also like it was supposed to be Christ. And what they would do is that they would find a little ditch somewhere. Like if they wanted something, if they desired something, they'll hold them captive. And you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And to them, it's like they put the little image, the graven image, in a little cut somewhere in the corner or under a rock or something.
Right.
And they would, you know, basically, you know, in their mind hold the Jesus or Yahweh Shai, you know what I'm saying? Also like, you know, the fake Jesus captive until they got what they wanted.
Oh,
so,
right.
So that was like their prayer. That was their way of praying. They would hold,
right.
You know what I'm saying, that child in a little cut somewhere in a little corner, you know, as to keeping them captive until they got what they wanted. That's evil as hell right there.
Okay, so that you're seeing right there, that image, Renan and Jonathan and Felipe and everybody, that's the Santo Niño de Antoche. Let me tell you something. At my work, there's people who drive their cars in, right? And see that doll you see there? I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I drove a car in one day, and that was sitting in the back seat in a baby seat, man. And I was like, oh, man, I ain't lying, man. I was gonna jump out that car, bro. You know, I told my coworker, Marky, I go, hey, Marky, man, check out what they got in the back here, bro. But this woman not only had this doll in the back of her car, but she also had like little, like I think they have one here. Yeah, these pictures right here. If y'all can see this picture, she had that on her dashboard and everything. But this is the Santo Niño de Antoche. That's what it's called, right? And this is what the Mexicans worship, man. And you can tell, man, everybody, man, you know, God damn it, why are they white? I mean, I don't want to be racist, man, but come on, man, you know, hey, aren't we brown? Aren't we black? Aren't we all like all different colors? But hell no, they always gotta be, you know what I'm saying? Always gotta be. And that right there, supposedly, the Virgin Mary. And so the name is Santo Niño de Antoche, right? And Saint I think in English it would be Saint Child of Antioch. That's what it would be. The Saint Child of Antioch. That's the name that's given to him. You see how I say that us Mexicans, man, like, you know, we choose to worship our oppressor, man. Do you have anything else on that precept? You were reading about that, right? And so this is man, this is what it is. And you know what? I'm not finished, man. I'm gonna bring out another one, right? See that? That's the candle. That's that candle. You know that candle when you go to a Mexican person's house? You know what I'm saying? With the cup. Yeah, with the cup. You know, you go to a Mexican, any Mexican person's house you go to, bam. You go to the kitchen, hello. You know, I know, man. My mom, I go there and I'm like, what are these? You know what I'm saying? Like they're 99 cents at the 99-cent store. You're gonna go and they got these right here. You know what I'm saying? But that's man. Yeah, you find them flying next to dead chickens on the forest. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, man. You find those everywhere. Those are the candles that, you know, we post up, you know, because man, we just a lost nation. You know what I'm saying? We are just a lost people worshiping idols that are not our idols, worshiping gods that are not our gods, you know. And we ain't the only ones, you know. We're gonna go into the story, like I said, of El Salvador and San Salvador. The name, you know, let me tell you, that name is not for nothing. The name comes from a certain place. You know what I'm saying? That name is coming from somewhere. It didn't just come out of nowhere. So let me tell you something. This is what it is. You know, where did you have anything else on that precept?
Yes,
Oh, good. Okay, go ahead.
And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them.
That's right. We served idols that are a snare unto us. You know what a snare is? A snare, if you don't know what a snare is, it's like a drum. And when you hit it, it gets a quick snap. You know what? That's what these idols are. They're death to us. A quick snap of death to us. You know what I mean? That's what they are. They're just a problem for our household, a problem for us because because we worship them, we're dying. We're lost. We're a lost nation. We've lost everything. Why? Because we chose to worship these idols. You got anything else?
Oh, yeah, so you would say a snare is like a trap?
A snare is like a trap. Yep.
And verse 37. Yea, they sacrifice their sons and their daughters unto devils.
Let me tell you, we sacrifice our sons and daughters unto devils. You know why? Because we're going down to the Catholic Church and we're having them baptize our child right there. A homosexual, man. We're having a pedophile go down to the Catholic Church and pour water on our kids. You know what I'm saying? It's like a quick a snare is like a quick trap. You know what I'm saying? It's like bam, it's got you. You know, that's what a snare is. That's why they call it the snare drum, because it's a quick one. You know, and a trap is just the same thing. It's something that's just gonna catch you in a second, and that's what happened to our people. We chose to follow the Catholic Church, the Christian churches, and all it's produced is people that are taking our money. Not only that, but a bunch of pedophiles, homosexuals. They've done so much to destroy America and South America that it's not even funny, man. It's sickening what these people have done to our people. Continue reading.
Right, for the sake of time, I'm going to go down to verse 40.
Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 106 and verse 40. Therefore was the wrath of the Lord kindled against his people.
See, the Lord is bringing his wrath against us. Why? Because we've become hard-headed people. We've become a people that do not want to understand what's happening to us. We've chosen not to follow the way of the Lord. We've chosen to separate us. And you know what? Separate from the Lord, and we chose our oppressor. That's what happened. We chose, the Lord said he promised us a lot, and we chose to forget what the Lord has promised us and go with our enemy. And you know what our enemy has done for us? Nothing. Continue reading.
In so much that he abhorred his own inheritance.
You know what? We've abhorred our own inheritance. You know what that means? That means that we have hated our own inheritance, man. The Lord has promised us so much, but we've chosen to forget about that. We've chosen not to look for what is ours, and we've chosen to follow what our oppressor has for us. And you know what he has for us? He has nothing for us. He has destroyed us over and over again. And you know what? It seems like we just love it. We just can't get enough of it. You know what I mean? It's like we just can't understand that this is destroying us, and we're continually staying here. Continue reading.
Verse 41. And he gave them into the hand of the heathen.
He gave us into the hand of the heathen. You know what the Lord said? If that's where you want to be, well, then you go ahead and you go there and you do that. You go be you. Do yourself. And you know what? Let me tell you something. Already, as you can see, when you do yourself, you know, you're just not doing the right thing. When you're in the ISUPK, when you're in the school with the Lord, when you're here doing what the Lord wants you to do, you're doing the right thing. But leave this place, and you know what's going to happen? You're going to go back to doing drugs. You know what's going to happen? You're going to go back to being a homosexual. You're going to go back to being a hoe. You're going to go back to being a drug dealer. You're going to go back to being destroyed. That's what you're going to go back to. You know what? That's why we're here. That's why we're speaking up. That's why we want our people to come back. Why? Because we don't want this to happen to our people. What we want for our people is for us to come back. For us to, you know what, finally realize that we need the Lord more than anything. You know why you need the Lord? Because without the Lord, man, you lost. Right? Because you're lost without the Lord. Without the Lord, man, you're just not the same person. Let me tell you something. Some of us, we think, man, I've never needed the Lord. Man, you always need the Lord. Because you know what? In hard times, man, he's the only way. That's the only way you're gonna find your way in out of this situation. Continue reading.
And they that hated them ruled over them.
And them that hated them, what?
Ruled over them.
They what?
Ruled over
Let
them.
me tell you something. Those that hated us ruled over us. Today, in our time, the Lord is speaking a truth. Those that hate us ruled over us. That's what's happening today. The same people that hate us are making laws for us. The same people that hate us are the ones that are killing us. The same people that hate us are the ones that are keep us in the condition that we're in. And I'm going to go into something talking about this of the condition that we're in. I'm going to bring something out, and it's about the young lords in Chicago. In Chicago, there was a movement, because I already spoke about the Chicano movement in LA and the moratorium. Well, you know what? The Puerto Ricans, they're our brothers too, man. And they've been through a lot. Today, you know that the Puerto Ricans are going through a lot themselves today again. Their country is being destroyed, and no one is there to help them out. Their country is put in a situation where, you know what? They need all the help they can get. And you know what? America has turned its back on our Puerto Rican brothers. Ephraim is dying, and ain't nobody, no goddamn singer, no goddamn artist, no goddamn movie star, no goddamn football player, no basketball player, no boxer has come up and said, I'm about to help my people. We need to do something to bring our people together. Let me tell you something. If you've never heard of this man, Jose Chacha Jimenez was the leader of a group known as the Young Lords in Chicago. Jose Chacha Jimenez, he was a young man when he saw that, you know what, his neighborhoods were being gentrified. His neighborhoods were being attacked by who? By white people. Man, it keeps coming back to the same situation. Sad but true, man. You know, this is the more you try, inconvenient truth. The more you try not to say it, the more it seems like it points in that direction. The revolution against the gentrification of a place called Lincoln Park came about because Jose Chacha Jimenez saw that, you know what, his neighborhoods were being destroyed. And you know why? Because the white people were beating up on Puerto Rican kids. And not only were the white people beating up on Puerto Rican kids, but the urban pioneers, so-called urban pioneers, or better known as engineers, right, for the neighborhoods, were coming around and were displacing Puerto Ricans in the neighborhoods in an effort called the urban renewal effort. That's what they were talking about. Urban renewal effort. You know what it translates to for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians? It translates to gentrification. Urban renewal effort is the white way of saying, I'm about to gentrify you. Get the hell out of the neighborhood. The city of Chicago had the Neighborhood White Association, right? This was a community development, and it included some Puerto Ricans, but of course, washed out Puerto Ricans. The Puerto Ricans that were in that committee had no interest in helping their Puerto Rican brothers. They were going to help a certain mass, a little bit of them, but the rest of them were going to be put out of those communities. This urban renewal affairs, this urban renewal project affected places like Lincoln Park and other the Heights. They affected different areas in Chicago, and the main purpose was, you know what, to push these people out, push Puerto Ricans out, because the Chicago white people did not want Puerto Rican in their communities. These young lords were fighting an uphill battle because, you know what, they could not win this war. Why? Because these streets that once were gang infested, these gangs in 1969 decided, you know what, we're going to turn this around. We're about to go from being a gang to being a community effort, because they realized that, you know what, hey man, you know what, this place, man, our people are being killed because Puerto Ricans were being killed, man. They were being shot in the street. They had people who were being killed in local parks on the street. Your kids would not come home if you were Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? If you were Puerto Rican and living in Chicago, man, let me tell you something. Chances of you making it home were very slim. And you weren't worried about black people killing you. You were worried about white people killing you. It was already bad enough that you were, you know, dealing with the blacks, but a lot of Puerto Ricans are blacks. You know what I'm saying? So that's why their biggest problem was, again, the white community. This was a civil rights organization, the Young Lords, that came around, you know what, to help their people out, to help them out in an effort to try to stop this that was happening to their communities. Let me tell you something. For those women that watch this show too. You know what? Women are just as important in the movement as men are. You know what? Because men need help from somewhere. They need the support from somewhere. And let me tell you something. The women found a place in the Young Lords. They were helping in the association with the Young Lords to help push the effort to free their people in these communities. But let me tell you something. Once again, like I said, you know, I'm not glorifying anybody. Great movement, great people. They try to do a great thing for their Puerto Rican brothers and sisters. But let me tell you something. The only thing they were missing was the Lord himself. That's why in the ISUPK, this movement, this is not a movement about black. This is not a movement about white, about Mexican. This is not a movement about Native Indian. This is a movement of the 12 tribes of Israel. This is a movement of the children of the Lord. We're not pushing any tribe. We're pushing a nation, the nation of Israel. This time, we're all going to rise up as one single nation. This time, you're not going to deal with the blacks. You're not going to deal with the Hispanic. You're not going to deal with the Native Indian. You're going to deal with the nation of Israel. You had something to say?
Oh, come on, I got a precept for that.
Go ahead.
This is Romans chapter 10 and verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High.
Let me tell you something. Even the Lord bears them record. The Lord is saying, you know what? I recognize that the Young Lords, the Black Panthers, the Chicano movement, the Brown Berets, the the Native American Indian movement. Let me tell you, I recognize that. Hey, man, you know, they're legit. Their people are moving. But what?
But not according to knowledge.
But what?
But not according to knowledge.
But let me tell you something. We lack knowledge. We lack something in these movements that has never been out there before, and that is the knowledge of the Lord. What's the difference between the ISUPK and everything else? Man, we have the knowledge of the Most High. We know what the Most High is expecting us to do. We ain't coming out there with violence. We ain't coming out there in marches. We ain't coming out there in peace. We ain't coming out there in unity with our enemy. We're coming out there with the knowledge of the Lord. That's what we're coming out there with. You got anything else?
That's it.
We're coming out there with the knowledge of the Lord for a social movement for Israel. This time we're coming out as a community, as an organization under the Lord. This time we're going to be a nation. This time we're going to move the way we're supposed to. We ain't just coming out there with just anything. We're coming out there with the resistance that we're supposed to be from the very beginning. That's what we're coming out there with. Tabacanaz, if you're out there, hit me up, Tabacanaz, si estás ahí, ponle aquí para invitarte. That's what we're coming out here with. You know why? Because our nations have been the same. All of our nations have been destroyed because we've joined hands with our enemy. You got Tabak's number or an invitation for Tabak? That's the problem. Let me tell you something. That's the problem with our nation. El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, all of our nations have been destroyed because we've chosen to walk alone. All these movements that I'm talking about, Jose Chacha Jimenez of the Young Lords, the Black Panthers, the Chicano movement, you know, all these people that I mentioned, Ruben Salazar, all these people have chosen to walk by themselves. So, Jose, I want you to send me an invitation to put you on. Bring Jose on camera. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. I got you already. I got you already. So this has been the movement has been the problem that we've chosen not to unite with the Lord. But this time around, what we're going to do is we're going to bring our people together and we're all going to come as one. We're going to bring a story out right now. We're going to go into something, you know, we're still here. I'm going to bring you on in a second. Give me a second. We're going to bring you a story because you know what? This has happened through all of Latin America. I touched on Chicano movement. I touched on the Puerto Rican movement, on our Native American brothers, Black brothers, you know, the Native American Indian here in California. We've touched bases with all that. But I want to touch bases with my people from Latin America because you know what? It's important that we all realize that we are one family. And the importance of bringing Latin America into the Israelite how could I say it, awakening is important because we are a strong nation. El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Chile, all my people from the northern tribes, we're important to come into this movement because we're gonna make a difference. We're gonna make a change. You got some I'm gonna throw some precepts. Okay, so just bring somebody. Yeah, yeah. Oh, goddamn. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? We got. It's important for us to come together as a nation because we're gonna make the difference, right? We're gonna go into some history today. We're gonna touch on our brothers of Zabalawan, Zebulon. Zebulon is an important nation because you know what? There's a lot of history in the Zebulon nation. There's a lot of history that we don't hear a lot about, but that it's really important because these people have suffered just as much as the Chicano, just as much as the Puerto Rican, just as much as the Black, just as much as the Native American Indian. We've all gone through the same, and our brothers, the Zabalawan, the Zebulonites, you know what? They have gone through a lot. And you know what's more important? That the Lord, in his promise, said that Issachar and Zebulon, that we were going to be together. That me and my brother, the Zebalawan, that me and them, we were going to be one. That we were going to dwell together. Isn't that right, Tabak? Can you hear me? Tabak Ganaz, okay. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Tabak.
Yes, sir. Are you listening to me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead and if you can, if my brothers out there can hear Tabak Ganaz, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, knowing that you can hear them. All right. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Now, let me tell you the story about.
Hang on, Tabak. Hang on, Tabak. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Introduce yourself.
I can hear you.
Introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Tabak Nash. Okay, meaning, okay, let me hook up myself, into my, okay. Can you hear that?
I can hear you. Let us know where you're calling from,
Okay.
the city and state, and your name and your rank.
I'm telling you, okay, that I am Nabaganas, which means, according to the language of the people of the Greek, okay, they just like I said, okay. But now I'm bringing the story, okay, of El Salvador, okay. Basically, the meaning is Central America, okay? But what I'm going to say right now, the history of El Salvador is like, I'm going to, in the year 1930, okay? The massacre of the Indians of the west part of El Salvador were carried by the monarchy, which is the government, okay? The number of the Native American Indians is about 1,000. The owners of the haciendas, okay, they go to the plantations in the United States, okay? Okay, the hacienda owners, okay, they trap the Indians, okay, by telling them to hide in the haciendas, okay? Meanwhile, they called the army. When they arrived, they went to the point and started massacring the Mayan Indians. Okay, they released about 30,000 people at the time. Okay, and the maximum leader of them was Martin out. He was killed at the same time, okay? He was assassinated,
Khan.
Are you according to me?
I'm listening to you.
Okay. Okay. Let me see this. Okay. In the Oliver Hill, the little hill of Faith, the rich people, the white people, here, the one, so the country, okay, took the land of the real owners by force. And this is exactly what they say. Let me give you 1% of the Bible. Can somebody read John 10 and 10?
John 10 and 10? Go ahead and read me John 10 and 10. I'm going to bring it out right now. Give me 1 second. John 10 and 10. So let me rephrase. Let me catch up to that a little bit. Give me 1 second here, and I'm gonna break it down a little bit, okay? Some of the things that you're saying. So my officer Tabaganaz is letting us know that Cuscatlan is the true name of El Salvador. Salvador has a name, and the true name is called El Salvador. This is the pre-Columbian name given to the land of El Salvador before the conquest of the Spaniard. El Salvador is actually, as you can even hear the word El Salvador, is really a Spaniard name. The chronicler Domingo Juras, which was one of the last historians that wrote about El Salvador, he's the one who gave the understanding of what the real name of El Salvador was. A lot of information comes from this man, Domingo Juras. Domingo Juras, another man, Palaces, and another man, Lozano. These are the last historians who wrote about the history of El Salvador. Most of the history of El Salvador is verbal. In other words, passed on verbally from generation to generation. Right. We know now that the El Salvador was broken up into two sections. One of them was known as Lempa. The Lempa was one area, and Cuscutlan was another area. These are the two areas known as El Salvador today. El Salvador is very important because these are the brothers known as Zabalawan. That's who these brothers are. So let's go on and read this precept that the brother Tabaganaz is asking us to read. Okay, so ready? Here goes. Go ahead, Sharwan, read that precept.
John chapter 10 and verse 10.
John 10 and 10.
The thief cometh not but for to steal.
The thief cometh not but for to steal. Now, Tabakanaz is letting us know that, you know what? This land was stolen from the Salvadoranian people, or the Cuscatlecos, by the Spaniards. They took this land from us. The same way they took the land from the Mexican Indian, the same way they stole the black man from his land, the same way they took the native Indians' land, the same way they've taken everything. Who is that? Read one more time.
The thief.
The thief. Who is this thief? Read.
Cometh not but for to steal.
But not but for to steal. Let me tell you something. The white man has stolen everything. In school today, they teach you knowledge that's stolen. The white man did not invent the light bulb. The white man did not invent the TV. The white man did not invent the automobile. The white man did not discover America. These are lies that are being perpetrated by a person that continually steals. John, continue reading.
And to kill.
And to what?
And to kill.
And to kill. Let me tell you something. The people of Cuscatlan were killed by the Spaniards. The people of Mexico were killed by the Spaniards. The black man was killed by the white man. The native Indian killed by the white man. Let me tell you something. It's an ongoing thing with this enemy that we call the white man. Continue reading.
And to destroy.
And to destroy. Let me tell you something. He's destroyed us with the religion that he's given us. The Catholic and Christian religion is a disease that was given to us and has spread throughout all our generations. And we have not been able to find the solution or the remedy for what's been known as Catholicism, as Christianity, as the lie that's destroyed our people throughout every single generation. Continue reading, Tabaganaz. Tabak.
Yes, sir.
Continue.
I'm here, okay, but my communication is kind of bad, okay?
We can hear you perfectly.
I can read that well, okay?
Te escuchamos perfectamente.
My telephone, I think, is not active. Okay? All right. So now here I'm telling you this, okay? The history of El Salvador, okay, is like it's deep down, okay? It's just like when the Mexicans they non-progress they say they discovered the that, okay?
Come on.
Okay? So they come to the mainland of Nazareth, according to the Bible, okay? Because according to the Bible, El Salvador is not his real name. His real name is Gustav, which means name of the flower. Okay? Now let's go to this. Okay? So how El Salvador was named? Okay? In the year 1450, okay? Let me see. The Pope Calixtus say that in Belgrade, which actually is Serbia, Belgrade was the capital city of Yugoslavia. Okay, the Roman Empire was saved and delivered from Serbia, actually the Ottomans. Okay, the Ottomans, okay, started to display in order to begin building churches in order to the divine Savior of the world. Come to America, the first land in Europe, it was the island of Oaxaca, okay, in the Caribbean island, okay. And he changed his name. He changed the name to this island of San Salvador, okay. So what? This is very close, okay. So Christopher Columbus died in the year 1506, okay. And then who took charge of this? It was Hernan Cortez, okay, which he came to the mainland of America. Because remember this, okay? The island, okay, of the Caribbean island are only part of the American continent, okay? But the mainland, beginning in Alaska all the way to South and South America, like Chile and Argentina, okay? All right? And when the Spanish people, okay, remember this, okay? They went down to Guatemala, okay? You can say like this, okay? Okay? So they knew the names we was divided because we didn't understand each other. So what did they do? Okay, so they took an alliance with the kitchen India. Okay, and they already know that we were divided, and this with the help of the native people, they helped to conquer the Salvadorian peoples, which are the Bibilis, just like you say, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay.
That's right. You're right.
Okay. And then at that point, okay, they Guatemala, the Kichens India, they helped us. They helped the Spanish people, okay, the Spanish people to conquer us, okay, in numbers, okay, but we was no coward. But when they conquered the city of San Salvador, okay, San Salvador is today, but at that point it was, I think, pasa. Lo mismo que hicieron los rusos cuando el emperador Napoleón quiso conquistar la capital de Rusia, la quemaron. Pero déjame decir una cosa, es que los salvadoreños somos los originadores de la verdadera guerrilla hasta el día de ahora, ¿verdad? Claro. Entonces, miren, ahí le va una historia acerca de Salvador. El Salvador simplemente, el nombre original del Salvador se llama Cuscatlán, como ya lo dijimos, ¿verdad? Se llama lugar de flores. Ya me lo explicó hace rato de qué quiere decir el lugar del sol. Pero imaginemos esto, ¿ok? En donde no hay sol, pues no hay nada, ¿verdad? Un lugar que está oscuro está obsoleto de nada. Cuando no hay sol, no hay nada. Y cuando hay sol, hay flores, ¿verdad? Claro. ¿Sí? Entonces, aquí estoy buscando ahorita, por ejemplo, en el año 915, se puso en efecto una ley en El Salvador y que la pasaron para lo que se llamaba el país de San Salvador a El Salvador. La ciudad capital dice se sigue llamando San Salvador, ¿verdad? Entonces el país se llama El Salvador y la capital se llama San Salvador, ¿verdad? Y ahora yo les voy a hacer una pregunta. Ok, a todos los que están escuchando. ¿Cuál país en Latinoamérica tiene una historia más compleja que El Salvador? El país, fíjense bien, es el lugar del nacimiento de la guerrilla. Y todo el mundo dice que el originador de la guerrilla es Vietnam. Hombre, en El Salvador se originó en el año 1529. Allí fue donde se originaron la guerrilla. Cuando los indios, están llamados indios, no somos indios, sino que son israelitas, ¿verdad? Claro, claro. Ahí fue cuando nació la verdadera guerrilla. Y hasta el día de ahora seguimos siendo los más guerrilleros del mundo. Así es. Y miren, y no me dejen dejar atrás, ¿ok? Los hermanos mexicanos, ¿ok? Que somos los mismos, ¿ok? Somos los más guerreros del mundo, les pese quien les pese, ¿ok? Usted dijo el otro día acerca de que no le gusta mucho los deportes, pero hay deportes que le gustan, y que los mexicanos dicen, no, los mexicanos goles para la guerra, para el boxeo. Ándale. Y ahí estamos, ¿verdad? Mire, tiene usted razón. La gente de El Salvador es una gente bien guerrillera. Ya, Talaquia. Somos iguales, miren, los israelitas somos la misma chingadera, oiga. Los negros, los hispanos, los caribeños somos la misma. Tiene razón, tiene razón. Como dijo el Chavo del 8, ¿cómo le digo a Chuma?
Tiene razón. So for my brothers that are listening right now, my brother Tabaganaz, he's letting us know about the story of El Salvador and the original name of El Salvador and how how it became to be, how they changed the name from its original form, which was Cuscutlan, to its new form, which is El Salvador. And so this is important because you know why? Because if you think about it, this that we're speaking about seems to happen to all of Israel. They're changing our names. They're giving us names. They're giving us the names of our oppressors. Do you have a precept for that? Yeah. Bring that up. So when they're giving us the names of our oppressors, they're taking away our original names and substituting with names that aren't even ours. You know what I mean? And that's something common. All of us are walking around with names that aren't ours. We're walking around with the name of our oppressor. In El Salvador is pipil, ¿verdad? Pipil, la gente pipil. Pipil in the Nahuatl language, it means kids or niño or it means joven or someone young. That's what the word pipil means. Pipil means young, or pipil means niño or young. That's what that word translates to in Nahuatl. So when you say pipil, you're actually saying young, a young woman, a pipil woman, a pipil boy, a young woman. That's what that word is. And as you can understand, pipil is a derivative of Nahuatl. Nahuatl is a derivative of Hebrew. So our words always seem to stay in the same. But all of a sudden, you got a nation that's coming over and they're changing our language, changing our names, changing the names of our countries and giving them other names. So this brings me to a good point. The point is that I'm going to make is that today we call ourselves Americans, or we call ourselves Mexicans, or we call ourselves Salvadoranians. But who are we really? What is the name that we really were before someone changed that name? You may be able to change your name, but you'll never be able to change who you are. So if you're really an Israelite, then you'll never, even if you call yourself Salvadoreño, you're still an Israelite. And just the same way, the white people call themselves American, French, English. Who are you really? You really are of the descendants of Edom. You got that precept? Read.
Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 15.
Isaiah 65 and 15. Read.
And ye shall leave your name.
And they shall leave their name. Listen to what the Bible's telling us. They're going to leave their name on us, on our countries, on our people. They're going to leave their name. Continue reading.
For a curse.
For a curse. Man, we've left our name. I've left my original name and I've taken on a curse. My country has taken its original name and left it, and it's exchanged it for a curse. Do you have any more? Okay. Continue reading.
Also like that.
Oh, so we've left our. Okay, read.
And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen.
Unto our chosen. So let me tell you something. They've left their name, El Salvador, on the Lord's people as a curse, on his chosen. That's why today we call ourselves Americans. But you know what? That's a curse for Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. That's a curse for us, man. To call ourselves Americans, man, that's like cursing yourself. You know why? Because they hate us. Because they're trying to deport you, even though you went and fought in the war in Afghanistan. They're trying to deport you, even though you went and fought in the war in Iran. You came to America in your zoot suit when you fought in the war of World War II, and you still came home to be discriminated on. You went and fought in Vietnam, came back, called yourself an American, and you actually put a curse on yourself because now they hate you for trying to be something that you're not. Go ahead.
I wanted to bring something up real quick. I remember that like about a year and a half ago, I seen a Commandant General Yohana, and he was speaking about how in Vietnam, how you had soldiers that abandoned the military, and then you just lived amongst the Vietnamese people. and a lot of them had, you know, got females pregnant. And when they came back to the U.S., you know, those kids were left, and since they were, you know, the father wasn't around, you know what I'm saying, those people, the babies started getting abandoned at a large, you know what I'm saying, a whole bunch of them at one time. So much that, you know, somebody made like some kind of group organization to pick these babies up that were just being left on the street.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we really are like, so you have two rights today in Vietnam still.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We really are scattered all over.
We are scattered all. Yeah, that's right. Because in Vietnam, a lot of black people were having kids out there.
Right.
There's a lot of black children in Vietnam that are Judites. You're absolutely right about that. That's for sure. Let me tell you, Tabaganaz, I'm going to read something for you. There's a historian in El Salvador. Y su nombre es ¿cómo se llama? Santiago Ignacio Barberena. Santiago Ignacio, he's a Salvadorian historian, okay? And do you have the precept of where Salvador, what is it? Zebulon and Issachar are going to be together?
Genesis?
Yeah, Zebulon. Do you have that one, Tabaganaz? The precept donde Zebulon y Issachar van a estar juntos? Okay, it's okay. I'm gonna have it's okay. I'm gonna have Kashar one bring it up. I'm gonna bring up this precept because this is important. I'm about to read to you the historian, the Salvadorian historian by the name of Santiago Ignacio Barberen. Okay, and I'm gonna read you what he says. But first, I'm gonna read you this precept about what it talks about the Salvadorian people and the Mexican people. You know, if my Judite brothers don't know this, but Salvadoranians and Mexicans seem to have a problem. Ain't that right, Tabat? Yeah, the Salvadoranians and Mexicans, we look like enemies, exactly. We see ourselves as enemies. You know, this is a stupidity that's been created by the Spanish against us, the Spaniards against us. And it's that's correct, John, a beef. We got a hate between each other. But you got it? Okay, so that we will be together, that they'll dwell together. Issachar, Zebulun and Issachar to dwell in tents together by the sea or something like that. Anyways, so while you're looking for that, so let me tell you something. The Mayan people, the Quiche people, are descendants of the Olmecas, of the Toltecas. These people are also known today as Yaqui. The Yaqui Indian, is closer to United States, known as Sonora, Yaqui Indian. But these are descendants of the Toltecas. Tolteca is an ancient race. The Olmecas are an ancient race. You know, these are ancient people. Did you find it? So there is a precept in the Bible that talks about how the Salvadoranian people and the Mexican people are going to dwell together in tents. In other words, we're going to be real close brothers. That's what the Bible tells us. The Bible says that El Salvador and Mexicans, we're going to be real close brothers. But you know what? The people from the Spaniards have made an effort to separate us, to make us look as enemies and keep us separated from each other. It's something that's been going on for a long time. And Mexicans see Salvadoranians as like enemies. And you know what? We're not enemies. We're actually closer brothers than what we think. You got it? Okay. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this, that the historian, the Salvadorian historian, Santiago Ignacio, this is what he wrote about us, about the Salvadoranians and the Mexicans. This man, okay, you got it? Read that precept. Listen to this precept. Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 18.
Deuteronomy chapter verse 13.
Chapter 33, verse 18.
Deuteronomy 33 and 18.
And of Zebulun, he said, rejoice, Zebulun.
And of Zebulun, of the Salvadoranians. He says, rejoice, Zebulun, rejoice, Salvadoranians. Read.
In thy going out.
In thy going out. Continue.
And Issachar in thy tents.
And Issachar in thy tents. So he's saying right there that Zebulun, the Salvadoranians, and the Mexicans, we're going to dwell together next to Zion. Or what is it?
They shall call the people unto the mountain. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall I'm not sure.
Hey, that's okay. So, anyways, that paragraph or that precept is telling us that Salvadoranian people and Mexican people are gonna dwell together. We are one. We are one nation. We are one people. So let me read what the historian Salvadoreño Santiago Ignacio Barrera. This is what he says about our people, about the Salvadoranians and the Mexicans. Okay, this is the Bible. Now this is a historian. Los Pipiles, the Pipil people, which is the Salvadoranian people, and he says, and let me read it in Spanish. Escarbé varios libros. He searched a lot of books sobre la historia de nuestros ancestros, Pipiles, about the history of our ancient ancestors, the Pipiles. That's what he's saying. Y llegué a la conclusión, and he came to the conclusion que los salvadoreños, that the Salvadoranians, somos ancestralmente, that we are ancestrally cercanos a los aztecas. We are ancestrally connected to the Aztecs, más que los mayas o los blancas vecinos. So this man is saying that the people from El Salvador are closely related to the Aztecs more than they're related to the Mayan people. So you see what he's saying? So he's saying that these people here, the people from El Salvador and the Aztec people, are more closely connected than the Mayan people are to the Salvadoranian people. So let me tell you something. Even the historians understand that the Salvadoranian people and the Mexican people, we are real close together. We are close together as brothers more than other nations. Now we're all brothers. All the Mayans and all of us, we're all brothers. But he's saying that the Salvadoranian people and the Mexican people, man, we have a real close connection, according to him and his historical research. You see what I'm saying? Now, this man is a historian, and he's looked through all the books to find, the differences between us. And he's come up to the conclusion that, you know what, we are one people, that we are really closely connected together. You have a precept? That we are closely connected together. You had something to say, Tabak?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. If you result over there, let me read you know about the book of Genesis 49:13.
Genesis, what is it?
Can you help me?
Yeah. What is it?
49 and 13.
49 and 13. Go ahead, bring it out.
Genesis 49 and 13.
Genesis 49:13, if you got it.
Zebulun.
Yes, sir. Let's see who Zebulun is, okay?
Go ahead.
Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea.
So Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea.
And he.
Okay. So what do that mean? So what do it mean?
Go ahead.
Let me see it. Okay. 13 says, okay. Let me see it in English. Okay. Zebulun shall dwell on the heaven of seas. Okay. What is heaven of seas? I'm going to identify the Mayan, the Zabulonian peoples, okay, who they are, according to the Bible, which are written right now. Let's not rely on it, okay? Okay. It says, 13, say, in the heaven of seas, okay? Which one is the heaven of seas today? The Canal of Panama.
Right.
Okay. And they are building another canal Nicaragua. Okay? Nicaragua, they are building another canal. This is a port of sea in which the boats are crossing away from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. Okay? And now let me see this. Okay, okay. His border shall be unto Sidon. Okay? Sidon.
Sidon.
Cuando las tribus de los cananitas que venían comandados por el rey Salomón venían a América, ¿verdad? Y entonces ellos fueron los que, they were the ones, okay, who came over here, okay. This land was unknown at this point, okay. And they were the first one to come over here and they start breaking oil, silver, diamonds, and whatever. Solomon, our King Solomon, right? And when they brought it to him, okay, so there was the beast, that is exactly what he was doing, okay? So this line is rich in whatever you want to know. I'm sorry, okay? So what is the land of let me see, of Sidon? Sidon is Veracruz, Mexico today. Okay, Sidon how? Because when the Zionist people, when the descendants of Canaan, they left in grave, large stones, several tons of weight. Okay. They left the signature over here in America. Okay. So time passed, okay, and that's why the so-called Egyptologians people, they say that the Negroes are African. They don't know. The Negroes are not Africans. Can you give me, the book of Acts 1? When you say, the Negroes?
Acts which and what? What would you say? Acts what?
Acts 1 and
What? Acts 1 and what?
When they call the Simeon the Negroes, okay?
Oh, when Simeon. Right.
Yes.
Right. Simeon, known as Niger. Is that it?
Yes.
That's the one you're looking for? Simeon, known as Niger? That's the one you're looking for? Which is Acts 3 and 1? 13 and 1?
Exactly.
Okay, Acts 13 and 1. If he's right, that's the one we're looking at. In the church of Antioch? Is that right? In the church of Antioch? I believe that's Acts 13 and 1. It is 13. Okay, go ahead. If you got it, go ahead, read it. Yeah.
Come on. Acts chapter 13 and verse 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers.
Now here on this precept, you have to understand that the Lord is talking about Barnabas, Simeon, Lucius, and Cyrene, and Manaen, And these are known as prophets and teachers. That's what they were calling them. Continue reading.
Certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas,
and Simeon,
that was called Niger,
who was called Niger. Now you got to understand that Simeon here, they're giving him a name, and yeah, the root name is for Negro or nigger, right? That's what they used to call them in those days, because you're talking about the language they're using here. You're talking about Latin, Negro. That's what we call them, Negro, and like a un negro. That's a Spanish word, or the Latin word for black, un negro. And this is a word that they used back in those days. The Latin word in Greece they were using and calling Simeon a negro. Now, why was he being called a negro? Because Simeon was of the tribe of Judah. That's why they're called Negroes. Today, how do we know that? Because today in our time, they're still calling the people of the tribe of Judah, they're calling them Negroes. They're calling, you see old, I know we all see it on the social media where they put up pictures of old, what is that, old posters of for sale, Negroes for sale. You know what I'm saying? Who's being sold there? The Negroes are being sold there.
Right.
They're selling Negroes there, so why are they calling them Negroes? Because that's what it is. Now Barnabas wasn't a Negro. Barnabas, I believe, was a Levite. That's what Barnabas was. If you go back a little bit in the book of Acts, you see that Barnabas was a Levite. So they're not calling Barnabas a Negro. They're calling Barnabas a Levite. But they're calling Simeon a Negro. You know what I mean? Because they're distinguishing two different people, two different tribes. And the brother Simeon, he was a Negro. That's what he was. And it goes on. If you want me to continue reading, go ahead, finish reading. Who was called Niger?
And was called Niger. And Lucius of Cyrene.
Now Lucius is of Cyrene. They're just saying he's from the place of Cyrene. Continue reading.
And Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod.
Now who was Herod? Herod was the king at that time in Jerusalem. He was appointed as a governor of Jerusalem in that time. Herod, the same one that went and called to kill the babies looking for Jesus.
Right.
Isn't that who Herod was? If I'm correct, that's who Herod was. The Tetrarch, right?
Right.
That's who Herod was. But I'll look more into it. But I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about. Okay, continue reading.
Okay. Which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul.
Right, and Saul. Okay, go on, Tabakanas.
Okay, let me see what I have it for here in mind, okay? The name of El Salvador was changed to El Salvador because prior to El Salvador, the original name, okay, was called Cuscatlán. As we said before, okay, the name of it was Cuscatlán, which means the name of the flower, okay, or the name of the sun, okay. So in the year 1916, they make a law, and they say, okay, that they want to change the name because originally it was called San Salvador, okay? But right now we know my country, okay, El Salvador, which is actually not my country. I'm an Israelite, and we also, okay? So I got the truth. God allowed me to know the truth, and He let me know who we are today, okay? We are Hebrew Israelites. The Negroes, the so-called American Indians, and the Latin American people, the Mexicans, all the way from Mexico, El Salvador, Central America, Honduras, Nicaragua, Colombia, Uruguay, Paraguay, Venezuela, Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, Perú, Ecuador. Todos nosotros somos los verdaderos hebreos israelitas. Le pese quien le pese.
Right.
Chingado fucking Donald Trump que nos... Chingado fucking Donald Trump nos hace los mandados.
Right.
¿Sí o no?
Con.
Por eso le digo, mire, aquí estamos argumentando esto.
Con.
A partir de todo esto, nosotros tenemos que entender quiénes somos los verdaderos israelitas y nosotros lo somos, ¿sí o no?
Así es. That's right. We are the true Israelites of the Bible. Proven that we are the true Israelites of the Bible. Man, heavy topic. And we just wanted to bring that out tonight and give a little history on El Salvador and how, you know, it's proven that we are these people. You know what I mean? That we are the 12 tribes of Israel, and how we're closer than what we think. You know, tonight, this lesson that we came up on and with my brother Tabak Ganaz, you know, we wanted to show how Salvadoranians and Mexicans, how we're closer than what we think. How all this animosity that we have against each other, it's nonsense. That we got to find a way to go beyond all this that we've ever known about us being enemies and start realizing that truly we're brothers. And this is not only between the Salvadoranians and the Mexicans. This is just a short portion of what we could bring out. The real truth in this election is that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, we're all this close. We're as close as the Salvadoranians are to the Mexicans. My black brothers, my Native Indian brothers, Hispanic brothers, let me tell you something. There is no separation. There is no, you can do it on your own. Once again, like we bring out earlier, even though groups have risen up, Black Panthers, Brown Berets, what did I say, the Young Lords, Native Indian movement, even though these groups have risen up, like the Bible says, that we've lacked something. What was that? What was that precept that says that we not of knowledge, that we did not have the knowledge, right?
I bear the record that they had the zeal of the Most
High. The Lord bears zeal that we have the zeal of the Most High, but we don't have the knowledge. All these groups have zeal. All these groups want to do something right, but you know what? Without the Lord, we're just not doing the right thing. It's just not working for us. When you're out there talking about Issachar can rise by itself, Zebulon can rise by itself, I don't need to be in the UPK, I don't need to be in this group, I don't need to be going to these classes. Let me tell you something. It's go ahead.
Okay, let's not forget, let's not focus only on Issachar and Zebulon, let's not leave alone, the brothers in South America, Bolivia, Ecuador, Perú, Argentina, Chile, Brasil,
right.
Y los países y las islas del Caribe, porque todos esos nosotros somos hermanos. Hermanos queridos, aquí en Estados Unidos tenemos la obligación de reunirnos como hermanos.
And so with that, Tabak, I have the intention of another class where I'm going to invite another brother onto my class, and he's from the tribe of Asher. And I'm going to have a real good one with the tribe of Asher because I know the story of Asher, and I know of the story of what happened to Chile with the dictator, so Neftali. So I'm gonna bring out this class with him, and right now I'm just focusing on El Salvador because I know what tension Latin Mexicans have with El Salvador, with my Salvadoreño brothers, my Zebulonite brothers. But we're here to break that barrier down, and we're here to let you know that we cannot be individuals. We're here to raise a nation, the nation of Israel. That's what we're here for, and we're all here together. We're all here together. Right. So that's why we got to understand that what's important is that we come together as one. You know what I'm saying? These classes are made for us to break down the barriers of all that we've known and come back again to our true nature, and that is that we are one, that we are Israel. You know what I'm saying? Tabak, I'm gonna thank you for coming on to the class. Tabak, thank you for coming on to the class. Thanks for the history. We want you to stay on. We're gonna invite you again to come into the class and give us some more history. We're gonna touch other subjects, other topics with El Salvador. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that you were here. I'm glad you gave us insight. Who better than our own Zebulonite brothers in the ISUPK to bring this story forward? Tell us where you, what state are you in? You're going to go to Chicago. Aren't you going to Chicago?
I am on the state of Wisconsin right now, and I have some problems right now, and I think I'm going to go to Chicago now, okay?
Okay.
Actually, it's about an hour away from me, okay? I was 20 minutes, okay? So, if that happens, let the Lord do me, okay?
Con. Well, we're with you too, man. Right.
So, sir, the way we are looking at right now, according to the Bible, the tribe of Judah is going to be with Moses. And so they praying in the
right. Well, that's right. That's right. Well, I hope the brothers out in Chicago take care of you, and that you find your peace there, man, and stay on it, stay on the classes. Watch us, we're going to watch out for you. I know you're going to start doing your own classes. So to Bagdanaz, man, the water for coming on the class, Most High in Christ, I wish you well. I hope your hand gets better too, because I know your hand got messed up. I hope your hand gets better, and I hope that Chicago, rises you up and you do more for your people. You know what I'm saying? We're here for you, Tabak. Next week, we're going to call on you again. We're always here for you, man. Thanks for joining us today. I want to thank everybody for logging in and watching the class today. We're going to bring it to an end. Every Wednesday, our class right here, the inconvenient truth, like always, bringing out truth right here in the ISUPK, bringing out that history that everybody hates, but that we love, letting all my brothers and sisters know that. Sure, go ahead. Can. That's true. That's true. Well, that's what we're here for, man. We're here to bring out the truth and bring out the reality. Man, to everybody out there, we're inviting you again. Don't forget, we got the cookout on November 17th, inviting everybody to come out to LA, come out for this 4-day event that we're going to have, 3-day event tops. We're going to bring it out. We're going to have a whole lot of goodies out here, man. 3 days of just being out there and the cookout and the event that we're going to have. So come on out here. You're invited. Reach out to us, ISUPK California. Look us up on the net. You can get our number there. Call Captain Gadahar or Quam and reach out to them. Let them know you want to come out here. We'll try to do something for you to accommodate you. Stay in touch with us. Once again, we want to thank everybody. This is Cousin Yad and Kasharwan every Wednesday here on this class. Are we on the Hobbs class today? Yeah. Oh, we're on the Hobbs class on Officer Lahab, taking over for his class today too. So, join us every week. We're here for you, man. Most High in Christ, thank you for joining us. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah. See you guys next week. Once again, every Wednesday, right here on The Inconvenient Truth. Shalom Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah.